Physio First members have been collecting data on their patients for over 10 years now, and we have over 50,000 data sets. And this was a vision started initially in conjunction by Physio First, in conjunction with a charitable trust that we are associated with called PPEF. This stands for Private Physiotherapy Education Foundation, and it provides money to enable the furtherance of education for physiotherapists and the public about physiotherapy. So we started to collect data. We asked our members to input data about their patients, including, numbers of treatments per episode, what modalities they used for each treatment, whether it be exercise, information and advice, manipulation, mobilization, electrotherapy, whatever, and the outcome of the treatment. So that has been going on for over 10 years. And so with this big bank of data that we have, which is, by the way, independently analysed, totally separate to Physio First,
by
independently analysed by the University of Brighton. So we have colleagues there who work in a team on what we call the Data for Impact project. And so now, with that data, what members can do is when they reach a certain level of data, they will get an individual report. So firstly, they can use that individual report to benchmark themselves against other practices in the UK, because we have coverage UK-wide. So they can look to see, for example, what is the average number of treatment sessions for a shoulder injury that they do. And if it's, way higher than the average in the UK, they might think, well, actually, maybe I need to go and do some more study on shoulders and get my outcomes better, and so on. So it's very useful from that perspective. And then when we realised that healthcare is moving to all over the world, is moving towards looking at what is the evidence, how can we be sure that physiotherapy works, how do we know that what we're doing is the right thing, is backed up by the evidence. So in 2016 we asked the university to help us design a scheme, and it has become a kite mark called Quality Assured Practitioner. Now what that means is, if I as a practitioner input my data on all of these parameters to send it off to University of Brighton, so Physio First doesn't know anything about the people that are sending the data off, they don't know anything about the data.
And remain anonymous anyway.
All anonymous, and the university looks at it. Once I've completed 50 data sets, and the data that we're collecting is things like the waiting time, for example, because we know that's a big issue in National Health Service. Patients often wait a long time before they can get to treatment because of the pressure on the service and so on. So waiting time between referral and start of treatment. Difference in FPS scores, so this is functional, physical and subjective score from the start and the finish of the treatment episode, so difference in FPS scores. Goals achievement, so goals that you've set with the patient at the start when you first see them, have they achieved them fully, partially, and so on. Goal achievement, outcome of the referral,
number of.
So is it discharged fully better, or discharge and return if not quite right, or referral on for MRI scan and so on. So a measure of that, and then the number of treatments that you've had. So those are the 5 parameters that the university looks at, and they have set a baseline. And if I, as a practitioner, achieve over the baseline in 3 out of those 5, then I will achieve this kite mark of Quality Assured Practitioner.
And Quality Assured Clinics.
And later on we have designed, this has just been last year's Quality Assured Clinic. Now that is to allow for the fact that we know that many of our members will, run a practice. They will be the practice principal, but they might have 6, 7, 8 practitioners, all of whom work part-time for them. So the university has designed this for us so that we can look at pro rata, the number of hours that they work, but they still all have to be inputting the data. Now, a really exciting thing that happened earlier on this year is that Bupa, is the biggest health insurer in the UK, asked all of their physiotherapy providers on their list to start collecting data. Well, in fact, they asked them 2 years ago, which was the last contracting period, are you collecting data? But then it was just a tick, yes, I am. Now, this time in April, they said, okay, we want to see the data that you're collecting. And what they have said, which has been really a boost for Physio First, is they've said, we acknowledge that the Physio First Quality Assured Clinic scheme, because they contract with clinics and not individuals, it fulfills our criteria for the audit, so you don't have to be audited in the same way that everybody else does.
This is incredible scheme, really. When I go through detail, especially when we look at the future, within 5-10 years' time, the outcome of this project will have huge influence on healthcare system. We as a physio even have a better idea what exactly is working, what is not working, what kind of modality is working, which type of hands-on treatment have better outcome. So this is really a massive project, and I am sure the future will prove this. This is amazing, really.
We hope so. I mean, we mentioned Bupa before, but a point that I want to stress is that we know from our practice profiling survey that we do of our members that a large majority, maybe nearly 80% of what our members see throughput in their clinics comes from the uninsured self-funding public.
Exactly.
So we didn't just do this to work with the insurance companies like Bupa, because we know that that's a small percentage of what members see. Slightly different in London, maybe, it might be higher, but provincially, it's mostly it's the public. Now, we know that the public use evidence-based referrals, you might say, word of mouth.
Exactly.
You might ask your friend, do you know a good physio? Might you look at, we're all used now to looking at reviews like TripAdvisor, with Amazon. Before we buy something, we read the reviews. Healthcare is no different. So we hope that by having this kite mark of quality assured practitioner and quality assured clinic, this is a way for the public to be able to learn more about what physiotherapy can be helpful for, because we know it has a huge impact on the way people live and their health. But secondly, to be able to be reassured that the physiotherapist that they're seeing has achieved this level and is working in an evidence-based way. So our University of Brighton colleagues were asked to present on this in the recent WCPT in Geneva, which is where you and I met. And so they presented 2 platform presentations and a poster presentation precisely on this whole project, which was really good for the university, and it's looking like we're going to be able to collaborate with other physiotherapy associations. We had discussions with Australian Physiotherapy Association and Dutch Physiotherapy Association about data collection, because everybody is looking to say, well, okay, where is the evidence? We have to evidence our treatments, and how can we do this?